gotta love the Bee Gees. Cover your assets. Welcome back. CYA21.com. Jump online. You can download your free copy of The Financial Crisis Bible by Todd Rooker. It's a great piece of work. Tons of wonderful information in there. And again, it's free, and whether or not you're in crisis or you just want to avoid it in the future. We discuss financial tactics for the 21st century, and on this New Year's Eve day, Jason Walgrave and Todd Rooker. Craig Nestor is off today. You know, we've been kind of talking about the new now. It's a concept that we've been floating all throughout the life of Cover Your Assets, and really the shift over from, you know, the heyday of getting away with financial murder in real estate and with our credit cards and things like that, and what's going on now. So let's talk about, Jason, some of the people that are really learning how to capitalize on what's gone on in this unprecedented real estate market.
I'll give you an example of a client I was talking with this morning. We've identified a 16-unit apartment building, a cash-flowing apartment building. He has doesn't have the cash, the 20% down that's needed. Let's say the property's worth about $500,000, so he'd need, you know, generally speaking, 20%, which is $100,000. He has a piece of land that he owns that is worth, you know, somewhere in that $100,000 to $125,000 range. Well, it's actually farmland, and so it is income producing. So there may be an opportunity here for a 1031 exchange to sell that land, take that equity from one property, which, by the way, isn't bringing in a whole lot of income, and transfer that into the purchase of an apartment building that has substantially more revenue, more rental income. So there's an example where you can get creative with what you have at hand, and there's opportunity to get into commercial property or income producing property simply by transferring equity from one to the other.
So 20%, though, you don't have to necessarily be in the market for a 16-unit multifamily dwelling, but you can certainly go out and pick up a single-family home right now that is going to do what for you every month? It's
going to cash flow, you know, and if you're, for example, $100,000 house or townhome, that property, you know, you're going to need about $20,000 down to purchase it. Your cash flow on that, your cash on cash return is probably going to be significantly higher than your typical stocks. And that's something that you can break down and take a look at the numbers. But in the past, where you were buying for anticipated appreciation, or you were betting on the property, you know, to refinance in a couple years because it's going to appreciate X amount. Now investors are buying, they're buying for cash flow, and they're buying based on today's numbers. Interest rates, keep in mind, are at historical lows. They're sitting at 4.5 on an investment property. Values are down, you know, they're down to where they were 10 years ago. So the incredible opportunity on the values, cash flow potential. Vacancy rates are less than 2% in the Twin Cities metro, and interest rates are historical lows.
And you've really told me some interesting stories, Jason Walgrave, about how many high-quality tenants there really are. So if you are a newbie investor, if you will, somebody that wants to get their feet wet with one property that's going to produce a couple $100 income per month for them, what kind of families are they going to be talking to that might inhabit that dwelling?
I think that there's a lot of great renters out there, especially right now. You know, whether, you know, someone had some type of a financial hardship and they went through a short sale or maybe a foreclosure. A lot of people have gone through those situations. They're back on their feet. They've got the income. You know, they have to have a place to live. There's a lot of options out there as far as property management. That's a big objection that we get is, I don't want to be a property manager, Jason. I don't want to get those calls on Friday night to
the toilet's overflowing.
Come change my light bulb. And there are options. There's a lot of great property management companies out there that charge, you know, nominal fees, $75 a month for a single family home to manage it, to collect the rent, pay the bills, and take care of all of those calls. So you don't have to be a landlord to still have the opportunity to get into the real estate market.
So that is a true opportunity that I think a lot of people have forgotten about. They just hear the news about all the foreclosures, all the vacant properties, and they're not seeing real estate as something that could actually produce income. I mean, there are people out there that are upside down in their primary residences, but they're out there buying investment property because it makes sense, right, Todd?
Makes total sense, because if you bought your own personal residence in the high side of the market, and now the values have declined significantly. Look, when you're forced, as in hindsight you would say, to buy high, and in this case, whether you're selling or not, basically the value has declined. How do you offset that? Well, you offset that by buying low, holding, watching the market return, and then being able to be in a position to sell high. That's the way you diversify your real estate portfolio, even if your only investment within that portfolio is your primary home. So I don't think it's a bad idea. And I think that if you were to stop and listen to what's going on in the marketplace, you would recognize that the opportunity here is absolutely unprecedented in real estate. But you have to have a different perspective, and that's what Jason was bringing up, whereby you're not going to see a property cash flow and refinance it every 3 years and turn $30,000, $40,000 cash out refi and go buy yourself a boat and have a better lifestyle, which frankly was a stupid idea to begin with. You know,
Don't couch it, Todd.
Don't. Yeah. Okay. Can't wait till things to get back to that. Right.
Right.
But the reality is that you're making your money today on the rents, and it is a consistent revenue stream, and if managed properly, can be the best opportunity out there in terms of where to put your dollars. It can be done within a self-directed retirement account, which means that you can preserve it. And so should anything go wrong, remember, all the way to bankruptcy, you can file bankruptcy and preserve $1 million in a qualified retirement account. So frankly, why would anybody buy real estate as an investment and not do it that way?
Sure.
So you can also insulate yourself. So should one property go bad out of your 5-property portfolio, you can insulate yourself. And as long as you didn't allow the bank to cross-collateralize, that property can go sideways, do a short sale, and they can't come after you personally, or at least if they can't attach to that other real estate because it's within a retirement account. So the opportunities are unbelievable. And in 20 years, there's no doubt in my mind that people are going to look back and say, man, what an opportunity this was to build net worth in this market. But they won't remember that many of the people who are in the know are people who've been beaten up in the market. And so because of that, they are so beaten and bloodied that they're not looking at it. The reality is the people who haven't been in the real estate market or didn't get bloodied in the process are in an unbelievable position to take advantage, and they should. The money's just going to be made on the day-by-day rents or leases as opposed to appreciation, but that will come back in time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, before we move on to the other really productive side of the Walgrave real estate empire over here, which is the short sale aspect of it, you touched on two really important partners on the Cover Your Assets team. When you talked about self-directed IRAs and buying investment property through there, you touched on Todd Grill, specialist. He's Intrust Midwest. Explain what Todd does just a little bit. And then also you're going to need some advice from Arliss Richardson too, probably.
She's our CPA, our wonderful CPA. Everybody that we're involved with are people that we were involved with long before this radio show and have years worth of experience working with them. So Todd Grill handles self-directed IRAs. What that means is that you are putting your money into a vessel that enables you to invest in different asset classes, real estate, gold, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, whatever you choose, but you're now in control. And Todd Grill assists you in that endeavor. And so the idea that you have to take a loan against your retirement account to invest in real estate is not accurate. You can use 100% of your retirement account to invest in real estate should you choose to do that. You may want to diversify a little bit more, and I don't want to get into that too much, but Todd is a tremendous program to be able to do that. But bear in mind, Todd is not going to be an investment advisor and help you manage your money. You're going to do that on your own. That's what you chose to do. But the thing about real estate is it's tangible. I've never believed in buying real estate in the South Seas. I want to buy real estate that on my way home from work I can drive by, I can touch, it's tangible, and I know if the people are destroying my property or not. I know if it's still standing. That beats the heck out of a prospectus where I might not have any idea of what's going on. Now, not for everybody. Real estate isn't for everybody, and for others, we've got a great investment manager who can help them diversify that portfolio. But Todd allows you to control your retirement account in a way that most people aren't even aware can be done.
And it's a good idea to consult with someone like Arliss Richardson, the CPA, because there's so many moving targets and tax depreciation angles to this whole thing. And there's a way to do it to extend the absolute best benefit. So, Jason, just, on short sales, that's become such a term that gets bandied about all the time. And I think a lot of people think they know what it is, what it's like, and how it's done. But really, I think in the public, there's a vast lack of knowledge.
There is. I think that the national average, and depending on which data you look at, the national closure rate is somewhere between 20 and 40%. That's the success rate of short sales that actually close. My team is at 92%.
Wow.
We've teamed up with Todd. We've teamed up with a couple different law firms. We have a team in place. Like all the things that we talk about on Cover Your Assets, we have individuals that are experts in their field, and whether you're going to get into real estate as an investment, or you need to do a short sale, or you need financial management or financial crisis management advice, we have all of these different moving pieces with experts in each field to show you what your options are and give you the best information, the best advice out there.
And it's unbiased. And that's the interesting thing about a short sale coming your way. In a lot of cases, they've come via Todd Rooker to Jason Walgrave because they've made that decision based on way more than just the house, what it's worth, and 5 or 6 little aspects, right, Todd?
There's an overall strategic plan. And when it's done properly, that's why somebody says to me, well, look, I've already talked to my attorney. He says short sales never work anyway, so heck with it. I'm just going to sit in the house and let it go into foreclosure. And I say, really? Well, we have a 90% success rate, and I'm going to tell you something right now. They do work and they can be successful. Not to say that that's necessarily what you want to do, but if you're throwing that out because that's all you need to know, you don't have a clue what you're talking about. It can be done if it's done properly. When you've got somebody like Jason, look, I didn't meet and work with Jason by accident. He's awesome. And so if somebody wants to short sale a house and they want to be successful and they want to avoid foreclosure on their credit report so they can recover in a fraction of the time, then we've got to get this house sold properly. We've got to have pricing done properly. We've got to do everything right, and Jason knows how to do it. So that's why we work with him.
And there's a lot more to consider than just what you might have read about and what you think that the water cooler advice, was great about. So 612-419-9425. That's 612-419-9425 to reach the Cover Your Assets team during the show, after the show, next week, whenever the mood strikes. We'll be back in just a moment.